everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. I'm here with part 2 of my pool mini album. So this is the fourth process video, excuse me, with this kit. And this is a kit from Fancy Pants Designs. It's a fairly new kit. It only started this year or maybe December of last year, but it's definitely less than 6 months old. Oh, maybe I should say less than a year because we are in June and this is the 6th month of this year. So it's definitely less than a year, but I'm pretty sure it's only just since January. So this kit has been super fun to work with, and as you can see there is a ton that I have in this kit, and this is the 4th process video. So I'm in the middle of a mini album first, but the very first thing I wanted to do was lay out most of the supplies and kind of refamiliarize myself with the supplies because it's been like a few days since I actually worked with this kit. And even though I scrapbook fairly often, I am typically skipping from one project to another. You guys don't always see that in the order that I actually create them, because I don't always post in that order, but I am always kind of skipping around between things, so I have a lot of different things going on at one time. Plus I have my Etsy shop, and you don't see any of those process videos or anything on here because obviously that's for my shop, so I don't do process videos for those. So the very first thing I of course did was flip through the supplies, familiarize myself, and kind of get started on the next page. There was this arrow, or this large arrow, that said cannonball. So when Calen and I were at the pool a couple days ago, I told him, I said, hey buddy, I need you to do a cannonball because I need to take a picture for my scrapbook. And he said, okay, do you want a picture like this or like this or like this? So he started doing a whole bunch of different cannonballs. Well, this particular one was the funniest because he tried to do a dab mid-air and do a cannonball. So I thought it was kind of funny, and it really captured his personality, I guess you could say. So I went ahead and used that for this particular layout. And I'm just using a bunch of the little die cuts. I pulled all of them out first to kind of figure out what would work. I have splash water droplets in the chipboard pieces, which are actually those lighter blue pieces. It's kind of hard to tell on camera which one's chipboard and which one are just paper die cuts. But the paper die cuts had a more brilliant blue, so I decided to use a couple of the paper die cuts and a couple of the little droplets. So there's like splash ones and then just a few single droplets. So I'm using a mixture of those and not using the chipboard pieces. I'm leaving those chipboard pieces off, and I'll use them on another project. Also, there's this little, like, what is that, a hexagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Octagon. There's 8 sides. There that says the deep end, and I'm just kind of putting that on there. This wasn't particularly the deep end of the pool because the pool is fairly similar all the way around. There's not really a deep end, but I thought it would just be a way to decorate this particular page. And I'll read you my journaling as well. I'm going to do a very small little section of journaling on the left, right under the cannonball area. I had done a large stripe of that crepe paper, the dark blue crepe paper, and that was to help the arrow stand off against the background. So the background is a pattern of fish. It's just all these little tiny fish printed in like rows, and they're going different directions. Each row is going a different direction, but that makes for a very, very busy pattern paper. So in order to kind of counteract the busyness, I went ahead and used that crepe paper as a layering element under my arrow. I had to pause for a moment because as I had started my scrapbooking, I had forgotten that I didn't print my journaling. So I went ahead and printed my journaling, and I had to take my photos with me downstairs, which is why they're kind of stacked here. I don't have my printer in my office anymore. It's actually downstairs in our like morning room area of our house. And so I took my photos down with me, typed up a bit of journaling, and printed them. So then I could come back and finish my process. So my journaling on this one just has splash. Calen's got some style with his cannonballs. Just look at that twist jump. And that finishes these 2 pages. All right, moving on to the next. So the next is actually a picture, or there's 2 pictures on this particular layout. And these pictures are of Calen with his goggles. So he's very particular about the goggles he likes to wear. He will swim without goggles. He doesn't have a problem. But if he's swimming with goggles, he prefers to use the ones that are more like the scuba mask style that cover your nose and your eyes. He finds it's easier to do flips and handstands and things like that in the pool if he has this mask style. He feels like he can see better out of the goggles versus the ones like the individual regular goggle style. And he also likes the fact that it covers his nose, so it helps prevent not nose. Sorry, let me try that again. It helps prevent water going up his nose. So that's why he has this like mask goggle style on, and he absolutely loves it. I can't remember what prompted us to buy these goggles, but there was something where he particularly asked for this particular style of goggles, and we just went with it. It worked perfectly. Using some of the washi tape to actually make a little bit of a separate layer down here on this card. Now this washi tape is not the one that came in the kit, but it is one that has like fish scales on it, and it's in a navy blue, so it really works well with the theme of this project as well as the colors. And I also, so the actual pattern paper is a yellow pattern paper that has a whole bunch of very tiny little sunshines on it. And I layered some of the glassine bag over it to just mute that pattern paper a little bit, and then I added this whole section of washi tape, and it's almost going to mimic water in a sense. So I'm pulling out a couple different die cuts, trying to figure out exactly what I want to use. There were these fish that spell out the word swim, so I thought it might be interesting to try to use those. Plus there's like a couple beach balls that I pulled out, a little guy swimming, some goggles, and so on and so forth. Plus I had a few little wave shapes. So I'm kind of looking through to see what combination of supplies here work well with the way that this page is laid out. So I'm going to layer a little bit of the wave shapes over top of the photo, and then I'm going to put another little wave over here on the left side. Plus there's a die cut that says good times and tan lines. So I have really come to like Fancy Pants's that's funny sounding, but the die cut packs that Fancy Pants offers, I have found that they are jam-packed with die cuts. So I guess I never really paid a whole lot of attention to it before, but you can always tell when you're working with a particular die cut pack. You can always tell when you feel like it's good, like it's a good amount, a good quantity of die cuts, and then I can always tell when I feel like there's not enough, because I end up just constantly going through the supplies and trying to find more and trying to find more. Well, with these, I end up with a whole bunch of supplies still stacked around me, as you can see, and I feel like it's plenty. All right, so I'm going to read you the journaling on that last page as you continue to kind of see me working here. It says, look at those awesome goggles. He prefers these because not only are they super cool, but they also keep the water out of his nose as he flips in the water and jumps in, doing crazy cannonballs. This kid has it figured out. Following along my same pattern, I have one photo here that I matted in just some white cardstock. It just kind of helps the photo stand off against the very bold background. And then I have the pattern here on the left, which I'm going to embellish and include my journaling. So there's this very large ribbon. It's like a fabric ribbon, and so I'm just using some of my red line sticky tape to adhere that down because it is a very large ribbon and I want to make sure that it stays put and doesn't move around a whole lot. And I'm putting that on this pattern paper that has the flamingo like water floats, which I think are super cute. There's a large one there on that puffy sticker sheet to the left of the screen that you can see. That's the same pattern that's printed on this particular pattern paper that I'm embellishing at the moment. I'm just reinforcing the glue on that ribbon with some washi tape covering the raw edges there, just to make sure that it doesn't move, just in case the glue fails me. I'm just layering my journaling on top of that, and it says, Calen is figuring out the handstands in the water. He's been trying for about 2 weeks now, continuously getting better and better. The first few times he tried, it looked like he was doing an upside down split. So he's kind of sort of figured out how to put his legs together. As you can see in this picture, they're still not together, but it's a lot closer to what it was to begin with. And they were these die cuts that said Marco Polo. Now, they don't necessarily have anything to do with this particular photo or the journaling, but I thought it was a cute way to kind of embellish. And then I had a couple puffy stickers there that just had some little splash water droplets, and so I'm just layering that. Well, not layering, but embellishing the photo on the right with that as well. And this one is a fairly simple little spread in my album. Now this last page here is my last photo and journaling, but I will do a final like ending page of the album. But I have one more photo and one more bit of journaling here. That's going to be my last embellished pages. And so I'll go ahead and read the journaling as we're preparing here. The journaling says, I love this kid. He's my cute, smart, daring, loving, and sweet little boy. Even though I don't actually get in the pool very often, I will take him to the pool every single day I can. The water is Calen's happy place, and he truly is. He loves the water. He loves the way that he can just play in it. He loves just everything about it. Now, I wasn't exactly sure how to do the ending page, so I decided to go ahead and actually work on that first to kind of make sure that I had something decorative to put on the last page. But once I did this, I didn't like the way that you could see my adhesive through the glassine bag, which is why I'm kind of playing around a lot with these little puffy circles, because I thought about covering up a little bit of that adhesive with it, but I don't like the way that it looks. It looks a little contrived to me. Plus, I also didn't like my little die cut splash pieces that I had left. So I'm really debating on this last one. It takes me a really long time to kind of figure out exactly what I want, but I end up just using my tiny attacher over where the glue spots are, and it kind of takes away the attention of that just a little bit. Plus, I'm going to layer a little strip of paper as well, and then I'm going to go back to that last embellished page with the photo and the journaling. I'm going a little bit out of order. This is really the only time in this entire process that I went out of order. Other than that, I've really been embellishing in the order that I'm putting it in the album. I'm looking at the adhesive that you can see showing through, and I'm really not liking the way it looks. So I take a little bit of the twine that's in the kit and try to cover it up a bit. But I kind of feel like that looks a little funny as well. So I'm going to fiddle around with it a little bit more, and I'm going to come back to that in just a moment as well. But first, I'm going to do my final page here. And this is really just kind of a wrap-up page. I already read you my journaling, but if you look at the photo, and I'll have a closer shot of this photo at the end, it's Calen laying with his with his elbows up on the edge of the pool, and he's looking at me, and his goggles are laying beside him. And I think it's just a really nice, it wasn't a posed photo, but it's really just a nice photo of him. He's smiling, but the shadow, you can't really see his face so much. You can see his eyes, but you can't really see his mouth with the way that the shadow of the sun was. But I really think it's just kind of a cute little ending photo, kind of to sum up exactly, you know, his love for the pool. And I'm just layering a few little scraps of paper that I have trimmed off. There is the red and pink stripe, and then there's the little pattern paper with all the fish on it in the different lines. And that completes the right side. Very simple, but it's really just the focus of him and just the journaling on this particular page. I do have two little popsicles that I'm going to put here behind, or tuck right here behind my journaling, and then I'm going to put my little flip-flops down here at the bottom using a little bit of washi tape to actually kind of help those flip-flops stand off the background a little bit. But that is going to be all for this particular page. This process has been so much fun. I really wasn't sure about the mini album, as I have mentioned before. The mini album was one of those things in the kit that I was like, I'll just put that in my stash and I'll use it at some point. But I ended up really enjoying the process and really liking how things turned out. Except for this twine. As I mentioned, I fiddled with it and fiddled with it and fiddled with it. And after I put these strips of pattern paper on the last page, the previous page with Calen on the edge of the pool, I decided that I would just use a little strip of pattern paper here at the top. And funny enough, I'll just use some little sunshines on the top of the page because, you know, that's where sunshines go. They go in the top or in the sky. So it kind of works well with this float kind of somewhat mimicking being in the water with the washi tape. And then the sun in the sky. So I'm just putting my little album together here, and I will have a whole bunch of still photos at the end for you to take a look at. It took me a second to get my rings in the right order. I have a hard time because my pages are a little bit bulkier than they probably absolutely need to be. So I had to do one hole at a time, because otherwise all my pages kept falling out of the rings whenever I had all the rings open. And I actually even had one page left that I didn't use, as you can kind of see up there at the top of my screen. But that's going to finish out this project. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this, and I have a few more process videos for you coming up over the next couple days, so make sure you stay tuned. Alright guys, thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye!